amazing.
Hey, drop the bomb on them.
So much.
Tiffany, sage. When stuff doesn't pan out when you think it should or how you think it should, it makes you question a lot. And the way that life moves around you can sometimes inform you about the way life is moving with you. People don't know is Jordan Webb is my name. I'm not like on some Clark Kent shit. I'm not like, oh yes, I'm Jordan Webb at nighttime and then I mysteriously disappear and turn into a whole other nigga. And I just feel like for me, a lot of it just is staying true to our ethos of like, yo, we're doing this shit because like this is what we love to do.
It's all necessary
With
Tifani
like
Sage.
Okay.
All the content.
Right. Alrighty. Thank you guys for coming back to another episode of It's All Necessary. The theme music doesn't go like that, but I feel like I always do that, so we'll just rock with it.
That was fire. I like that one.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This is a space as a reminder that we're reminded that all of our experiences, whether big or small, it's only to prepare our growth. And so everything we go through, it's necessary. Bing, bing, bing.
Insert theme song.
Yeah, right. Today, my guest is Jordan the Great Webb. And Jordan is an artist. He's an engineer, and he's also a producer. Did I get that right?
That is correct.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you
welcome.
so much, Jordan, for coming.
No problem. Thank you
I
so
already
much for
know
having me,
this
Tiffany.
episode's going to be awesome. And I love how when I was asking you yesterday if you want me to send you the questions, you were like, nah, I like to be surprised. So I feel like this is going to be fun.
Yeah, it's real life. You know what I'm saying?
That part.
Can't prepare for real life, so why prepare for this?
I like how you think.
Hey, I tried. Thank you.
Let's start with childhood.
Oh, God. No, I'm playing.
What? Hey, we can go there. What would you say is your fondest memory, your fondest childhood memory, and why?
Ooh, my fondest childhood memory. Oh, wow. Okay, so actually I already know this one.
Okay.
So I was 12 years old. I was in Kentucky, and it was I don't know if it was a hot summer day, but it was a summer day.
Mm-hmm.
And my step-granddad was driving. We were going to like the store or something,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a song that came on the radio, and I remember being like, who is this singer in my head? I didn't say any of this out loud, but I was like, who is this? It sounds so good. And I'm just listening really intensely to this song. And then I like catch the hook a couple times and I start singing it. And it's like, I heard it through the grapevine.
Boy, you better sing.
And my step granddad started chiming in, and he was like, "Oh, you like that Marvin, do you?" And then we did like a whole duet on the way to like Walmart or something.
Yeah.
But like that was like one of my favorite childhood memories.
Wow.
So small and like, but like so big at the same time.
Yeah, and I feel like I may know why it stuck with you. But I want you to tell your story. Why was that so special?
Honestly, because like I was the first time I've heard Marvin Gaye and recognized I was listening to Marvin Gaye, I think. Because like I feel like up to that point in my life, music was kind of something I experienced really passively. Like I enjoyed it when I would hear it, but it was never something I was like, oh, this is something I should pay attention to. Yeah. And I think when I heard that song, it was just like, I felt like enraptured by this song. You know, I was just caught up and I was like, I feel what this dude is saying. I'm 12. What do I know about the grapevine and what he heard through the grapevine? But like, I'm like, oh, I feel you, man. I done heard some things through a grapevine myself. And I think that plus like my step granddad, he was probably the most like musical member of my family. He played jazz and blues guitar, and he also played for church as well. He played keys and guitar. So it was cool because I think that was like the first time I ever connected with him on music without trying to make the connection with him on music. Like, oh, did you listen to the blah blah blah? He's like, oh yeah, I heard that. And I'm like, I don't know what else to say.
Little Jordan like heard it through the grapevine.
I'm saying though, like that was my jam, dude.
How would you say your parents would describe you when you were a child?
Talkative. I talked a lot, like a lot, like too much. I talked a lot. I talked so much that I was confused why people weren't listening to me until I was like, they listen to people who talk less and say more. Yeah. It took me a long time to realize that.
Dang, wait. And so I want to dig a little deeper.
Yeah, for sure.
Why do you, I guess back then or even now, if you feel you speak a lot, why do you feel you had so much to say?
You know, that is a good question. I don't think I ever thought about having like a lot to say. I think I was more of like I just would say whatever I was thinking or be a part of whatever conversation. I wasn't necessarily hip to a lot of social norms when I was a kid, because I was a kid, so I was still learning stuff, obviously.
Yeah.
But it was all necessary, you know.
I love
so
that.
I had to figure out. I think in a lot of ways, I relate like my speaking, like learning how to speak in social circles. I related to my music journey, because when I started writing music, it was also super wordy. Like I was writing like full sentences.
Wow.
Like
I used to be like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think every artist in their beginning stages,
Yeah.
you know,
It's like,
you have everything to say.
all my thoughts. And it's like, no, you got to make
descriptive.
it. Yeah.
Like, it's like, no, not that descriptive.
Yeah.
Like, that's too much. Like, you can't even fit all of that on the song. What are you doing? That was me. So I think I started to realize the correlations between me talking a lot and then me also saying a lot in music. And I realized that the music that I listened to, it wasn't a lot of words, but it was a lot of statements being made.
Ooh,
or a lot of questions being asked. And so that kind of made me be like, oh, well, maybe this has more to do with like everything than I thought it did at one point in time.
Another question. Well, I mean, I have a lot of questions, but pertaining to that, when you feel like, let's just say you're in conversation with someone and you're like, okay, out of the 100 words I want to say, I'm only going to say 20. And even with the song, in this 2-minute and 30-second song or 3-minute song, I can only say this much. What do you do with those extra words that you feel you need to express?
That is a great question. I think now I try to put them into other mediums that are still around the song. So if there's extra words, for example, like about a concept, I might make them into the cover art for the song, or I might make them into a music video concept to support the idea, or a visualizer or a challenge or something. But I think that, you know, I like to try to honor all of the creative ideas I have when it comes to each piece of work I have. So I've been learning more recently that might not always translate into the same medium. So a lot of times it's like, that's a great idea, but maybe instead of as a song lyric, it would translate better as a visual piece or as something that is a performative piece or a part of the live show maybe, or a poem or an addition, an interlude, something more. And it makes me dig a little deeper, I think, creatively, because I'm not just like, yeah, it's all in the song. If you want to know, just look at the song. Just listen to the song, man. Like, I don't got to say it. Listen to the song.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, no, like experience the whole thing. Experience the cover art, the song, the rollout, the video, like, and at different times, because like as you evolve, all of that art's gonna meet you at different places. You might connect with the song first, and you might not get the cover art until later. You might connect with the video first, and then connect with the song later. Like I like to kind of give people as many access points to an idea as possible, because you know really ultimately it's about connecting that idea with people, and I think that you know, the more doors you can let people come in through, the less it feels like everyone has to come and engage with it a certain way. Yeah,
and that you've found a home for your unsaid words / emotions.
Exactly.
So everybody's happy.
Right. And a lot of times people will like bring those words back to you if you don't make it onto the song. They'll be like, oh, this song made me feel this thing or made me think about this. And you're like, that's amazing. That's what I wanted you to think about. Yeah. I wanted to tell you in the song, I want you to think about this, but I had no way to say that in the song. Yeah. So it's dope that, you know, that translated still.
I love that. This is going to be a fun episode. Next, let's see. Aside from music, what captivated your attention as a youth? So maybe hobbies or just, I don't know, a philosophy you were like really struck on.
Well, I was a pretty big nerd when I was a kid. I loved reading a lot.
Same.
So that was my jam. You know, I was the readathon, like reading champion, trying to read other kids under the table.
I remember the reading for the pizza stuff. Oh, my mom's here in the background. So.
Hey, but the reading for the we read for pizzas, we read for like book subscription, we read for all sorts of stuff. And I was trying to read people. I was like, oh, you ain't reading more books than me. Like I'm reading chapter books. I'm reading 4 or 5 grade ahead of where I'm at. Like, I was a reader. So I loved reading books, and I loved writing poetry. And I would make up like, I'd also act, but not in an acknowledging I'm acting way. It was more of like it would be fun to like make this idea with my friends happen for this scene, and we would just do it. And it was like this weird blend of like acting and just playing with the homies kind of thing when I was a kid. Yeah. So I think that like it was just being able to create and have fun and be spontaneous. That meant a lot to me. And reading was great because I would have like 4 books from the library, and I'd pick up one, and then I'd be
the library card.
Come on now.
Shoot, yeah.
The book fair fair, you dig? Oh my God.
You're taking me back.
Ooh,
You're
the
taking
book
me
fair.
back.
I was begging my mom, Ma, please.
Yeah.
Please, $10, please. I want a book.
And would she give it to you, or it's
It
like,
depended on it would depend on the book though,
Okay.
because like sometimes it was like, you know, it was something that was like going to benefit my education or something that was a good read.
Yeah.
Sometimes it was like, I want this art book. And I was like, I'm not spending no $15 on an art book with some colored pencils. That's crazy.
I was gonna ask, what would your mom consider foolishness reading?
Ooh, yeah, definitely anything that came with like a kit or an attached. Like if it came with an activity that wasn't the book.
Yeah.
She was like, "That's not a book. That's an activity. I'm not paying for activity. I'm paying for a book."
Oh shoot. Let's see. Childhood or / teenager role models. So when you were in that age range, was there anyone in real life or on TV that you were like, I want to be like them?
Yes, and I want to contextualize this with it was like 2008. Which camera? I'm looking at both cameras.
Yeah.
2008/7. It was a long time ago, a different era. Okay, MTV played music videos, top 10 countdown before school. We used to like scramble to watch it because you was lame if you got on the bus and didn't know who was in the top 10 countdown in my school.
Wait, question: were the kids also big watchers of BET's 106 in Park?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
It was that was back when it was 106 in Park, and they would all watch the singing shows too. So they would all be hip to like all of the American Idols and all that stuff. So like you low key kind of had to be at least semi up on like music knowledge in my school. I don't know why.
And I also forgot to acknowledge that we are in a new space, and I'm loving the energy of this new spot. And thank you again, guys, for tuning in. Let's move on to work and lifestyle.
Woo woo.
So obviously we all know I feel many industries can be difficult to get in respectively, but the entertainment industry in itself, I feel, has a reputation for being hard to break in. How did you navigate your way in?
I kind of broken through like a back window is the way that I put it.
Let me say this. One of my, I'll say his name, Lunch Money. Shout out to Lunch. I think I was talking about, getting in a room as a songwriter, and he was like, hey, Tiff, sometimes you can't go through the front door. You have to go through the side door, break through metaphorically on the top floor in the window. It's like, however you get in. Yeah. And again, like, it's all necessary with all of our experiences. And I would never want anyone to feel belittled to say, oh, they got their start in the industry by, I don't know, being an assistant to an engineer or being a runner. It's like, how you get in is how you get in.
Yeah,
you know
100%. I mean, sometimes you have to get in a suitcase and they smuggle you in the
shit.
room. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Even think about that.
Hey, it's real life. You got it's some people like that really want you in a room. They will find a way to get you in that room. That's something I've learned. Is like if they want you there, they will get you there. That is a whole nother
thing, because I feel sometimes you have friends who they're like, "Yo, I got you," and sometimes "I got you" means the total opposite.
Yes,
I don't got you, and I'm in these rooms, but I'm not gonna say a good word in for you. So shout out to all the people who speak of their friends and their acquaintances, and they're not in the room, but you speak of them, and it's because of that person's able to get through.
Yeah, and I want to give a special shout out to all the people that keep bringing up people after they brought them up the first time. I feel like a lot of people do this thing where they bring you up one time and they're like, woo, that's it. I've done all my community service. That's all the giving back I've got in me.
That's a good point.
And like I have one of my close producers, Wes Singerman. Shout out to Wes, super great dude. He has been like relentless at bringing up my name in sessions ever since we started working together. And like it doesn't always pan out where like I'll get invited to the room, but like Wes will undoubtedly bring me up, and like knowing that I have somebody that's at least gonna mention me and that he's working with me and takes pride in that, it like that goes way beyond anyone that's just gonna do the lip service of like, we'll work with you, we'll get you in the room or two and kind of see where things go. There's a lot of the see where things go kind of energy, and then there's the people that like genuinely believe in you that are like, no, I don't need to see where things go. They'll see where things go. I already know where they're gonna go.
Like they did their part. So as what you're saying, they'll continually do their part, and then how things go is how things go.
Absolutely, because I think that's how we should be showing up for each other in the music community anyway. Like I think as much as the industry gets glamorized and like big upped and all this stuff because of like the infrastructure and the money it provides, the reality is like the real like actual music part of music is touching the community, and the community doesn't exist in the industry. That's why the industry needs artists, is to reach the community, because they can't just go to the community with the industry artists, because the industry artist doesn't have the community. That's the disconnect. So it's like,
y'all caught that.
saying?
That was initial because of that, but then because of that.
That's a, you know what I mean? It's like I've learned to look at the industry like this big like manufacturing house, and like everyone that's an artist outside of that is like a farmer. And it's like sometimes you have to go to the big industry factory house because you need refined flour, or you need something that's processed, or you need a certain sound, or you need an opportunity. But the goal is not to stay there once you get that. The goal is to get that and then use that knowledge or whatever comes with that, whatever resources, bring that back outside to your plot, because ultimately your community is the one who would be the people that technically got you into the factory in the first place. So you know, it's about returning the favor and taking care of people, because they'll take care of you,
and it will always come back, as you said. It will.
100%.
So I don't want to forget, how did you get in the industry?
So I got in the industry when I was, let's see, like 19. I had a survey of recording technology. Such a stupid class title when I was in school. So I remember thinking, I was like, what the hell does that even mean? But it's basically just a recording class, just teaching you the basics of like DAWs and the ins and outs of like music history or whatever. And this was back when I was in college, so I had all my email. This is really OD me, but I had every fucking link I had my music attached to was in the email bio that I had at the time.
That not smart marketing?
It probably was, but like in retrospect, I had to have looked like crazy when I'm like emailing somebody about like, the homework on Tuesday or whatever, and it's like, find me on SoundCloud, Apple Music, Spotify, and it's just like, all right, dude, like fucking relax. But it worked. All
right. Oh shit. I forgot.
All right.
I'm so into this, right? And it's like great episode, and then when I go back to the file, there's no volume for me.
You gotta crank that shit hella up. Like, damn.
What would you say has been or was your career springboard moment in music?
My career springboard moment. I definitely think that is a result of my homie Pell. Shout out to him, and this dude named the Adonai. I gotta give him credit too, because I wouldn't have met Pell without him, and I feel like that connection had to happen for me to get to where I needed to be, kind of thing.
And this is in LA?
This is in LA. So this is 2-ish years ago. I moved out here in like 2020, so it's like early 2021, I think. I was making music with this artist and producer named Pell. Thanks to my friend Addy at the time. He had introduced me to him just through like his connections of music and stuff. He's from New Orleans, and New Orleans is really similar to Nashville in that it's a smaller music scene. So like everybody kind of knows each other, at least familiar with one another, which was cool. But Addy was a part of this like collective that Pell had, so he introduced me to Pell, and then me and Pell just like really got along. Like he was like almost older brother kind of vibes. Like we just really saw eye to eye on a lot of stuff, and like as a dude who's been in the industry for like quadruple the amount of time that I have, he had just so much knowledge and gems and just good things to tell me. And he actually invited me to a session out in Calabasas. Yeah, it was because it was a long ass drive. I remember driving like, damn.
Where am I going, and what am I going out there for again?
Yes, exactly. Like when you start to feel valley traffic for more than 30 minutes, you're like, oh, I'm like, where am I going for real, like type shit. So I'm on the way to Calabasas. I pull up, beautiful fucking house, beautiful studio. I meet this dude named Kieran, and I meet this dude named Wes, and it's me, Pell, and then his homie Crucial. And we're all over there, and we're like,
is that, I don't know why I'm thinking Crucial Keys or something else.
It might be someone else. Okay. So Crucial's KR3W, but dude is like one of my favorite rappers out of New Orleans. Like, man, is absolute fire. But it was me, Pell, and Crucial, and we linked up with Kieran and Wes. And me and Wes, like, we were talking about like anime and shit, and just kind of got into some like nerd conversations and shit. And then before we left the session, I was like, man, I feel like we just need to like link up and work on some more shit. He was like, bro, I would love to.
Wow.
And like I got him and Kieran's number, and like Wes was the one who like immediately set a session up for us like within the next few days type
Friends
shit.
with a purpose.
So, yes, exactly. And like was very like about what he said. Like I feel like a lot of, you know, what I had experienced up to LA at that point was like very hit or miss, where it was like either people were completely lying about whatever the hell they were talking about, or they were just like, yo, I'm not lying, but like I can't do anything for you right now because I can't connect you with this person for whatever reason. It's like, it's fine. So I think meeting Wes really kind of like catapulted things forward, because I had all of a sudden not just like this producer who is already like has a claim and stuff in the industry, but also someone who is so musically talented and and just immediately like validated every single musical doubt I had in my mind. Like I was like, oh, like I don't know if I'm good at music, and like maybe blah 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 blah. And like, but working with this dude, it was like he saw me at the end of my career when we were working together at the very beginning of what is now my career.
Wow.
So I feel like working with someone with that vision pulled me up to a level that I might not have been at otherwise.
Yeah.
Because I was kind of called on a lot of my bluffs. I was like, dude, do you believe in this shit or not? Do you believe in what you're doing or not?
Yeah.
Like, and I did. So I just think I lost the plot somewhere along the way as life goes. But, you know, meeting him and connecting with him and working with him was amazing. We've made over, I think, like 30 tracks in like a year and a half. So we were like just every week, if not every other week, we were just in the studio.
And it just felt like fun.
Just having a fucking blast,
Yeah.
y'all. Like, he would call in his homies and we bring musicians in. I was calling in my homies. We just had like just mad fun, you know, and it was very effortless and seamless. And then from that is what started this past year with me dropping these mini EPs. And that the reason I was able to do that was largely in part because of Wes, because we had so much music that it was like, okay, now I can actually like decide what to put out instead of just being like, I don't know, because what if we put this out and then I want to make a song like this, and then it's like we have all those songs now, so we can just pick like, well, which ones do we want, what fits together thematically. So, you know, shout out to Wes, shout out to Pell.
I'll put some horns in.
Yes. For real.
Quick flight. Am I looking okay from this angle? Because I know we readjusted things.
For sure.
I think once you press or before you press record, the little, then you can focus it. All good? All right. Did you ever want to quit music? And if so, what was that plan B looking like?
That's really funny. So yes, I did. Very ironically, before this year, actually, last December, I don't know. Okay, so I want to also contextualize this with like, I don't know. I think for me making music is like a sick compulsion. Like, I don't think I could escape. I don't think if I wanted to quit, the only difference is that no one would know I was still making music. That's the one difference. And I think that in order for me to realize that, I had to go through the path of wanting to quit or entertaining the idea of what if I stopped putting out music entirely. So I'll say November and December, because it was kind of just towards the end of the year.
Yeah.
I was feeling very sad.
Mm-hmm.
I had put a lot of work and time and effort into creating this one music video with a bunch of my friends, and it was really fun to shoot. I don't think the edit came out the way that we thought it was going to, but it was still good enough for what it was, and far better than anything I think I had shot up to that point. But the reception on it was very like lukewarm, and I think after that I just kind of felt like, well, maybe I shouldn't even bother. Like, maybe maybe I'm like the old man now. Mind you, I'm only 28, but like in my head I'm like, I don't have like the young
and your
buck
energy's
tenacity.
very like big.
You know what I mean? But it's just like, you know how the world gets you down. You like, I need to find a job, and like I'm almost 30, and like maybe I should stop worrying about this artist shit or whatever. And like I have a lot of really, really talented friends that are like in their like early 20s, and I think that at that time I was just like, man, the kids got it, man. They don't need me, man. Like, they don't need old heads like me, man, and like all this shit. And I got to a point where I think I really genuinely just lost the reason why I was making music. And so for about 2 months, I just like hit all the brakes on music creation, and I stopped compelling myself to songwrite unless it just felt good, which at the time it wasn't, so I didn't have to worry about it.
Yes.
And I just really got to like kind of the core of why I make music. And I think I had to take away everything. Like I was just doing all this like shadow work, I think is what they call it now. Where I was just going through my own like mental like mansion and just pulling stuff out of closets and under the floorboards, and I'm like, why do I believe this thing that's a foundational belief?
Just
like
imagining you like with a big blanket over your head like the Scrooge. Like,
yeah, pretty much. I mean, shit, that was basically it. Yo, me and my homie Namir, man, we were just cooped up in my little 1-bedroom apartment, just like thick as thieves, just kicking it. He was just like, man, I don't know what I'm doing. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing either, bro. Like, but I think at the end of that, I got to a resolution where I realized, like, I make music for a couple reasons, chief among them being to connect people, but more importantly, to connect the world to myself and myself to the world. And I think that once I realized that, I think it just kind of allowed me to let go of so much shit that I was able to actually move forward without a preconceived notion, because I think so much of what went into that was my expectations of success or what I thought should happen. And then, you know, as it goes with expectations, when things don't pan out that you thought should happen, and
a lot of time and money and vision has been invested. For me, I'm just like unplug everything. I'm done. I'm done.
That's me.
I just want to
I'm
go
just
home.
like I'm bad. I suck. I quit. Y'all win, man. Whatever. Like fuck it, dude. I'm bad at this shit. You guys win. Like congrats. But then I realized, like, even that, like, to me, that's like more selfish than just being like, yo, let me honor this gift, because I've had a lot of realizations since that time, but one of the biggest ones was that like life will really facilitate you doing what you're supposed to. Like,
oh my gosh,
wait,
really please
will.
Go into that. Wait, before you say that, I feel too I forgot who I heard this from or I saw it, but it's like, if there's always someone wanting us or in need of us. But then sometimes the little man on my shoulder is like, yeah, but what is one person? But you just never know. You never know, because what if years ago, you know, Barack Obama and all that he was trying to accomplish, he was like, you know what, let me just scroll and find some new music. And what if it was Jordan Webb's record? It's like, you know what? This is really motivating me to keep going. And it's like, you just never know who that one can touch. But when you said a while ago that I think you said like the world, or I guess life, the universe will facilitate your gift and push that gift forward, please expound on that.
Yeah, so I now, my current life philosophy is that, you know, I go where I'm invited, where life invites me to go. So like life will invite you to go do the thing. If you do the thing and you're supposed to do the thing and you do it well, life will invite you back to do the thing again in a different way. If you're an artist and you make music and you go play an open mic, you may get invited to go play a showcase. If you go play a showcase, you may get invited to go play a regular show. If you continue to play shows, you may get invited to go play a show in a different state. And it's like, if that is your life path, and if what you're doing is honoring your gifts, and if all of that's in accordance, it's going to almost seem weird that you're not doing that to people that are watching you perform, to people that are experiencing your music or experiencing your sound or experiencing your acting or your art or whatever it is. It's like those people will be like, wait, why aren't you doing this? And then there will be people sometimes, and a lot of times it is just one person that's like, I work as a event manager, so I would, and it's weird to me that you're not booked for events, so let me book you for some events. And it really is like that, and that's why I think so much of the community is really my emphasis now, because it's like that is really who tends to artists. It's like the industry like cuts us a check sometimes. It's the community that actually tends to us. It's like the people that show up are the reason why we get paid, because of ticket sales. Like the venue's not cutting us a check. Like it's like the people are the reason why we're getting paid. The people are the reason why I'm able to collect randomly $100, $250 from Spotify stuff to pay my random bills that I have. Like it's not because of the industry didn't do that shit. That's the people, and it's the community. And ultimately that's life. It's like life is facilitating me still being in LA times where I've been like, oh, I don't know, I'm gonna pay this bill, and then it's like, here's a random ass payment for your distributor for just enough money to pay that bill. Stay your ass here.
Just in time blessings.
Exactly. And I always take that as a confirmation that life is still wanting me to continue on the path that I'm on, you know?
Yeah. I love that. You're going to go far, kid, with that mentality.
Thank you.
Let's see. How are you, if there is no balance, that's fine, but how are you balancing music time / creative time, visionary time versus personal time?
Well, it's definitely a tougher balance to strike these days because of how fucking expensive everything is. So that is for sure. However, I think I've learned that like a lot of what I love and pride myself on when it comes to like my like personal time is like just creating freely and spontaneously. So a lot of times I'll start off by just like doodling, then I'll end up working on a song for a little bit, then I'll like build these little Lego sets that I have or mess with a Gundam or something, like just something tactile. And I think a lot of, for me now, like a lot of it is more about just like letting things become more seamless than having things be more organized and rigid, because I don't do very well with rigidity in my life. Like even if it's for my own good, like I have to like trick myself into doing things for my own good, because it still has to feel spontaneous even if it isn't spontaneous.
Is that because it's like you feel like I don't want to be boxed in, and I don't know, or it just,
I think it's just because life is fluid. Like a lot of times it's like, let's say I'm at work and I'm like, all right, I want to, I'm gonna go home, I'm gonna work on X, Y, and Z when I get home. But like a lot of times I'll get home and it's like, I don't want to work on X, Y, and Z right now. And as a result, that thing is gonna suffer because I'm forcing I've already set aside this 2.5 hours to work on this thing. So, and it's like, then I'm taking all of the fun out of the thing. So it's translating into whatever the creation is. So if I'm working on a song and I'm like, oh, I gotta force myself to get the song out,
it's not gonna have the same,
of course not. And
vibe.
It's like, I won't even feel it. I'll listen to it and I'm just like, yeah, it's not connecting. And like now I know, I'm like, this nigga, today was not the day for that song.
Wasn't the day.
Tomorrow might have been the day. It's like I have to give myself grace and creative grace, because like I realize that trying to pressure myself only makes me want to work less, not work more. Groovy.
When you said you made time to work on Project A, it's time now for you to work on Project A, and it's just like, oh, no, I don't feel like doing this because of the rigidness. I want to know your thoughts on this. For me personally, I feel like I put extra pressure on myself because it's like, no, time is everything and we can't get time back. And so that is like that pressure. Have you ever felt like when you're postponing something for another day for it to be spontaneous, that you're just like, oh, damn, like I lost a day now?
I used to feel like that for sure. I 100% did. I used to, this is really fucked up, but I used to songwrite as if every song was my last song I was ever going to write in my life.
Whoa.
And that was like my mentality I carried with me, and it was literally destroying me internally. Like I would psych myself out before sessions. I would like things that I should have been excited for and should have been having fun at. I was like internally miserable because I'm like, oh, it's not good enough. Like it's not a good enough song. It's not deep enough. It's not lyrical enough. It's not going to hit the right way. Like, and I realized that I started obsessing over details more so than actually just working on the thing. And I think now, because I also think time is like a flat circle. Like I think everything that has happened will happen. I think everything that has happened in the past has been happened like for all time and space. So I think because of that, like I don't think there is a such thing as wasted time, because a lot of times I'll make something better than the thing I intended to make if I allow myself to create in a different way. So what that means for me in like practice is like, all right, I'm going to go home and I'm going to work on this song. And I get home and I pull the song up, I pull the session up, and I'll sit with the song. Let's say I record it. I'm like, it's just not feeling right. And I'm like, all right, tell myself what I'll leave this here because I know I can come back and work on this where it is now. But I'm still in a creative mode, so let me just pull up some instrumentals. Let me just listen to this other thing. Let me see what's the last song that I left off on. It's like I take that as an opportunity, and knowing me and knowing the way I work is like that's gonna happen again. So each time it gives me a chance to actually bring things up to snuff. And the things that I'm like, I think when I make them, or when I think any creative, I think you get to a certain point when you make something that you know is a hit, or you know is like the one or one of the ones, like you don't have to worry about like it being less of the one if it's today or tomorrow. It's like, oh, I know I can pull that up today, tomorrow, next week,
and it still
next
hits,
year, and I can re-record those vocals or not, and it'll be fine, you know? And I think it's like allowing myself that grace with time has also allowed me to have personal time and be able to spend time with like my family and my friends and loved ones without feeling like, shit, I should be at the studio, I need to be doing this. Because to be real, like I have been at the studio, I have been doing that. Like it's just a different use of the time, and a lot of times that idea might not be the one that day, but I need to honor whatever idea will show up that day.
The pressure of like when you said every song that you write back then was like as if it's your last, was that self-inflicted pressure because of your ambition and your potential, or that was outside?
No, that was 100% self-inflicted because of my ambition and potential. Yeah, that was on like my own head. I think that, and I think like, I don't know, being a rapper is a tough line of work, a tougher line of work than a lot of people think it is in the artist world, especially if you're a rapper that like cares about what they say and the way that people receive what you say. I'll say more so than maybe what you say, because like a lot of people will rap is the ultimate form of expression for them because they can fully and freely express themselves.
Yeah.
But when you are, I think, trying to convey a certain point or trying to get a feeling or emotion across, it can get a little bit more convoluted and a little bit trickier because you're using more words, but still not supposed to be using more words. Like, it's like you have to walk a really thin line. And I think that for rappers, we get a bad rap, ironically, about like not actually caring about the lyrics and stuff, but it's a negative feedback loop, because if to you I'm a great rapper and I'm this incredible lyricist, and I show up and that day I don't want to be a lyricist, I want to make a song about going to the park and getting some ice cream with my shorty, but I walked in and y'all are like, oh, you were him, bro, like you gotta come in here, you gotta give us 36 bars off the top, 3 verses, like 4 hooks, a bridge. Like, these are the thoughts of the people in the room with you, and it's like you don't want to be like, nah, I want to make a song about going to the park and getting ice cream with my shorty. So you like, all right, I guess, we can, I'm going to dig deeper and dig. And then it's like, then they don't even have to say it anymore. And then at a certain point, I think you start kind of beating yourself with that same mentality where it's like, oh, I got to make this, and I got to make this. And then it's like, a lot of times you forgot that those people don't even think that about today. Those people are not even in the session, but you in the session looking crazy, trying to be lyrical miracle on some shit that's not even that deep.
Yeah.
Like,
I love it. You should write a book, because and also too, get this man in some animations, because your energy is like so good. And I feel the first time I met you, I was like, oh, you're a character.
Yeah.
But your energy and also too, like your wisdom, your knowledge, like,
I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Shout out to Tifani. She gonna be my booking agent. Y'all holler at
hey.
her. We finna get this money.
Let's see, last question in this section, in this segment. What's been a recent recent business or personal conversation that you've had that has resonated with you? So I don't know if like a gem was dropped, or it's like someone told you about yourself, or something.
Yo, that's a good question. I think one of the most significant ones to me is something that's just been like I think it's good because it served as like a really good reoccurring theme this year. It's just that like we're people, me and my team and my homies, like we're people that work with people first and artists second. So like we always put people over art. Like the art is always going to be there. Creativity is unlimited and is limitless, but life is not. Life, we have one of them and it's precious, and things happen and you need to be places and spend time with people you love. And like my goal as an artist is to never like deliberately go out my way to take somebody out of that if I can avoid it. So this year there's been challenges with scheduling conflicts and having to reschedule stuff, but everything is genuinely worked out in the way that I believe that it was meant to. Yeah. And I think that a lot of that was because we didn't overemphasize getting just the work done. We always put the people first, because that makes the work the best it can possibly be.
And how were the people being put first?
They were immaculate. They're amazing. I love those people. Thank you, people. I literally couldn't do any of this without y'all. Like, and that's also why it's like I put more value on the people than I do the work.
Yeah. And when you say people, the listeners?
I'm the people, the listeners, the behind the scenes crew, the people that are the photographers, my DP for video shoots, my videographer that lives in Tennessee that flies out randomly when he can to shoot music videos, like the people that reach out to me to shoot, like everyone has a life, like, and I love that, because to me it's like life is mysterious and it needs to stay that way. Like I think the more that I've in my life tried to grapple and constrain it into like I need you to do this, it's just like who fucking cares what I need? Like life needs gonna trump my needs all day. So the best thing I can do is get out the way, let life do its thing, and then if we align, then we'll align. That's always gonna be, we gotta trust in that. And that's why I feel like this year has really shown me, and all of my reflections on my current personal conversations recently have been about this basically. So it's been super dope.
I love that. You're walking with the message, and I feel it.
Church on the move.
Right. Moving on to top 2. What are the top 2? Do you read books?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. There's like many different things, whether it's like top 2 albums or books, but I would love to know top 2 books that resonated with you and or films.
Ooh, top
or
2
albums.
Books. This year, 2 books. Atomic Habits, fantastic book.
What's that about?
Fantastic book. It's about how basically how your habits are actually started by like the very small actions that you take, like the way that you wake up, The way that you greet people, the way that you set your planner for the day, if you set a planner at all, the way that you create your goals. It's like almost like the thinking behind the actual habit, and then where that habit even starts from, like the smallest, most like tiniest pebble that kicks that habit off. So that's been a really, really great book.
I have to read that one.
Yes, it's fantastic. I'll let you borrow when I'm done with it too. It was like, I'm almost done with it. I'm like 3/4 of the way through. That one's been a slow cooker for me because every time I pick it up, I'm like, whoo, they cooking. I got to put this back down and marinate on this. Ooh, that's some heavy. You know what I'm saying? So
those are the best reads.
You feel me?
And books are patient. So thank you, all books.
Yes,
because
shout out to
there's
books.
many books on my bookshelf and all over my home where it's like half read, only read the first 2 chapters, and it's like they don't scream at me like, you don't care about me anymore. It's like,
right. They don't have reminders on books. They should though. That would be crazy.
Ooh, that would be overwhelming for me because I have so many unfinished books.
Yeah, it'd be like my house yelling at me.
Yeah, right.
You've been on page 72 for 3 months.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Like, and then the other book for me this year was the book called The Artist's Way. That book
I heard of that.
It is like, that book is like part book, part religious experience, part like life help.
Tell
like,
me why this book was special to you.
Because it helped me navigate the beginning part of this year when I was still coming out of that, like, I know why I make music, but I don't know what people are gonna connect with me on the music I make, and I'm still in my head about a lot of stuff. The Artist's Way is amazing because it's like a workbook for artists that kind of helps reconnect you to the very literal young you that exists inside of you, and it brings up all kinds of just fun exercises and thoughts, and like I'm a big fan of thought exercises, so like I love it for that purpose because after every chapter the author gives you like 10 to 15 exercises, and they're sometimes super small things, but you know, it'll be like, you know, list 5, you know, imagine in 5 different realities that you're not an artist. What are you doing in each of those realities? And then it's like the next week is like, okay, now remember that list from last week, now write up, you know, 4 sentences about what each of those versions of yourself is doing. And what you don't realize you're doing is like you're becoming more of yourself through these thought exercises, because all of those people, all of those worlds exist within you. You're just not living in that one in this iteration of reality, but you can still pull from those mentalities and things like that. And I feel like for me, I was like kind of floating in the ether of artistry, and that really helped ground me and give me some like really solid world building for my own internal dialogue.
Oh, that feels like a religious experience. Well, not say religious, spiritual experience.
It's spiritual experience. Yes, thank you. That's a much better way to couch that.
Let's see. Your top 2 mental... Oh, sorry, let me start over. Let me see.
Remix.
Your top 2 mental health practices.
Top 2 mental health practices. 1 is getting sleep. I love to sleep. I need 7 hours.
I don't think I've heard that yet since I've been doing the podcast. Someone said mention sleep. Wow.
Sleep.
It's slept on. No pun intended.
Dead ass slept on. Like, yo, stop it. Sleep.
Yeah.
Your body will thank you. Like,
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of clearing my sleep debt. Like, I know when I have not slept for 7 hours, if it's 6 hours, that's an hour I have to clear of my sleep debt. If it's 5 hours, it's 2 hours I have to clear of my sleep debt. Like, I'm a big proponent for that, because I feel like sleep is a foundational thing. It's like, I always feel like I'm learning something or seeing something that changes my perspective.
And when you do your walks, are you listening to music, or sometimes it's just silence?
Sometimes it's music, sometimes it's silence. Sometimes I walk around with my headphones in and no music playing, just to like give people the illusion that I'm not listening. But because I'm like, I want to know what's going on for real.
Yeah. Top 2 pieces of advice that has kind of been like a centering, a North Star for you.
All right. I have one piece of advice that I'm going to preface this with. This shit pissed me off when I first heard it. So if you receive it that way, that's okay. The first piece of advice is, if it doesn't have to do with the thing that you want to do in life, don't say yes to it. And I'm going to contextualize this because it took me a long time to realize what that shit meant. Because for a long time, I was like, well, what am I just supposed to fucking say no to getting a job and no to walking? I just want to be an artist. But it's like, when you think about the realities of what an artist has to do, they have to be able to sustain themselves financially. So if that means working a job and being an artist, then that's what that takes. But if that's something that all artists will have to do, is something like you have to, make sure you can perform. So you'll have to exercise. That's a thing that all artists will have to do. You can say yes to things that will actually help you, but saying no to the things that are going to take you off track is very helpful in the long run. I don't go out a lot now, not by because I don't like going out and partying and hanging out with the homies and stuff, but mostly because I actually really am either at the house working, I'm at the studio recording, or I'm out in the world doing something tangentially related to my art, which is super cool. But I feel like that only comes as a result of me having taken so much time to not feel the pressure to go to things. Like, I don't feel the pressure from that because I know that, that thing is really cool, but, there's going to be another one of that thing. And even if there's not, there'll be another room with people in it with all of the same elements. A lot of people don't understand, and I learned this shit when I was in college. Parties are the same, 5 elements. It's people, some sort of, inebriating substance or two, drinks, usually a nice view or a house or a location, a room, and music. So it's those are pretty much the same elements. That's going to exist somewhere else. So it's using that, I've been able to give myself grace, and it's okay to say no to things that I actually genuinely don't feel compelled to go to because I don't think that it's going to either A, contribute to my life, or B, contribute to the art. And because my art draws from my life, a lot of times it's okay, cool. It has been a while since I've had an experience that's been out of the box. Now is a good time to go do this thing, or it is a great time to say yes to this. But that still serves a purpose for me. It's not just fuck it, why not? Let's see. Because then I'm 30 minutes in, man, I could have stayed at home. I come over here for this. Why I do that? I wasted gas. It's LA too. You can't be wasting no gas. $5 a gallon. Can't be wasting no gas. But that's one of them. And then I think the other piece of advice that, fun fact, I also hated this shit when I heard it. It is be yourself in every room, and that will determine which rooms you're supposed to be in.
Oh, I never heard the second part of that quote before.
I didn't either until last year, and I was fucking mad when I heard that. I was like, man, it's easy for you to say. You wanted to go to the room with all the people. But then after that, I was like, but wait, I'm also in the room with all these people, and I'm being myself. So what does this mean? It really makes you think, because it's that, who you are is your compass, basically, is the way that I've interpreted that to be. Is that's guided me ever since, which has been great. It takes away pressure, because we get all this pressure thrown on us. Oh, you gotta chase the bag, get in the room, be in the zone, get in the mix, be outside, and it's when you really are actually in the shit, you realize a lot of those people are the people that live the craziest, most frantic lives, that have the least amount of stability, that don't even feel like themselves when they become successful, because they're so disconnected from life and who they actually are, or they're so deep in life and the throes of chaos that they can't even see that circumstances have changed. So it's I like to give myself enough grace to experience life and also be creative and grow alongside of both of those things.
And don't give too much of yourself to every little thing, because as you said, after you give and you're all over the place and you're everywhere, what do you really have left?
Exactly. Then you on the interview couch feeling crazy because you didn't study the questions last night, and now you asking, you know what I'm saying? You're you freezing up and you feeling wild and shit. And it's you worked hard for that opportunity, but you'll never be able to capitalize on it or make anything out of it because you've drained yourself getting there.
Yeah. Oh, and this is why you need to write a book.
Hey,
And I'll be your booking agent.
Hey, my book and booking agent.
Right. Moving on to Essence, what do you love most about yourself?
Oh, that's crazy. What a question. I think if I had to pick one thing, I think I love my optimism. It's something that has carried the other parts of myself through days that I thought I couldn't get through.
I feel it. As you're talking, I was like, Jordan is really bright. And in a past episode, when someone felt uncomfortable to answer what they felt, they're like, so what do you like about yourself? And I was like, I love my optimism. Yeah. And I definitely feel that from you. So,
Thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, I feel like, there's a quote that I saw recently. It was hope is the reason why we all don't kill ourselves. And I was like, that's real shit. Because if you had no hope in life, you would not wake. If you I legitimately thought and contributed to the idea that I will not wake up tomorrow, there's virtually no reason for you to be alive. And you would internalize that. So I have a lot of friends. And for a long time, I had also struggled with depression. So I think I got into a headspace where I felt hopeless, and I felt like I wasn't going to make it, but never deep enough where I could fully commit to the idea, because there was always a part of me that's yeah, but what if you wrong though? What if you not? And that what if I've just let it be louder in my head these days.
How did you get out of that, the dark cloud space?
A lot of internal work.
Really?
A lot of internal work. A lot of internal work. Like, I had to sit with all the ugly parts of myself and accept all of them for who they were and who I am. And I think by doing that, it was super humbling, and I still get humbled every day. But I think that it's great because it gave me the ability to appreciate not just what I do in my life, but also what everyone else is doing in theirs. It was like the second I kind of broke through that, I had this crazy moment of like inner realization where, like, you know, at the time my inner visualization for like my life was like this little plot of land, and I was tending to this garden, and like at that time when I kind of surrendered myself to that feeling, it was like I could see all my friends around me and all of the beautiful gardens they'd been making too, and like it zoomed out and I saw everyone in our periphery and all of the amazing gardens that they had, and it was just like, oh shit, like we're all actually connected doing this thing. It's not just me in this little silo trying to make my fucking tomato plant do a thing. Like,
oh man, that's real. Let's see. Ooh, I think you may have answered this already, but what do you do, or sorry, what are the day-to-day things that you do that make you feel good?
So sleeping is definitely one of them. Eating, I love eating good food, like just food that tastes good. I love making myself a good meal. Breakfast sandwiches, I make a hell of a breakfast sandwich. I am like chief breakfast sandwich maker, man.
What was a hard lesson? What was a lesson you heard? Can I speak?
Let us speak.
What was a lesson you learned the hard way?
Okay, I'm trying to think of how to phrase this, because like I feel like I lived this lesson, so I'm like, okay, so I think the way to say it is like the best first manager you'll have is probably going to be one of your friends and not someone in the industry.
Ooh.
And I learned that the hardest of ways, because last summer I was gung-ho as hell for a new manager. I was like, and not even, well, I'll say a new manager because it had been a while since I had one, but I was getting to a point where I was like, yo, some of this artist is gonna get a little tricky. Like, I'm getting invited to rooms I can't really go in because I'm not represented, because I'm talent, and talent and management are two separate entities in the industry. Which I think I'm more familiar with in like an acting context, but that was like, oh shit, I forgot that this was like also a thing in music. So I was like, oh well, maybe to, you know, not only legitimize other parts of what I was doing, but also to make sure that things were still proceeding on the music business end, I should get a manager. So I started trying to meet with hella people and talk to hella people, and I'm on phone calls, and I'm pulling up to the studio at 10 a.m. and waiting for an hour for this dude to show up as my friend's manager, and he's talking to me, and I feel bad because I'm like, this dude don't really know me, so he don't know how ambitious I was at the time and how like all these goals and shit I had planned, and like I'm sure what I was talking about sounded crazy to these people, but my friend Chaz, he was like, that's my dog. He's an amazing director and screenwriter. And he was the one who had helped me fund and shoot the music video last summer. That was like super fun and had all my homies in it or whatever. And he was there the whole time, just watching me take L's. Left and right.
Yeah. Oh no.
He was there with me when I was pissed. I'm like, bro, they want me to send them a list of shit to do. Come over. We gonna give them a list. Like, you gonna help me put together a list of shit and all this shit. And then after maybe like 2 months of this crazy ass process, I just kind of threw my hands in there and I was like, man, I don't know if I'm gonna find a fucking manager. And Chaz was like, well, like, what do you need a manager to do exactly? And I kind of outlined it for him, and I was like, well, I don't need like a music business manager in the way that like these people are trying to present it, because I'm like, I understand what they're doing, but I'm not at that level yet where I'm like, you know, I don't need you to negotiate contracts or talk to these people about splits and stuff. Like, I'm not at that level yet. I'm still, it's all artist to artist, artist to producer, producer to producer, songwriter to songwriter stuff. But for a lot of it, it was like, yo, I need someone who has a separate email that goes to their own email address. So when people send us like opportunities, it looks a little bit more legitimate than blah, blah, blah at gmail.com. There's certain things I'm like, there's something like we could legitimize the brand a little bit more and also give people like a place to reach out that isn't just Jordan. Because the thing is like, people don't know is like that's my like Jordan Webb is my name, so I'm not like on some Clark Kent shit. I'm not like I'm Jordan Webb at nighttime, and then I mysteriously disappear and turn into a whole nother nigga. Ha Like no, like I'm the same motherfucker. Like I stand by what I say to the point where like you can see me in real life and see me on the internet. It's the same fucking person, like type shit. So knowing that, you know, I think a lot of it's like, you know, and because I'm talent, like it's even more of a bad thing to the industry to let me in the room because they realize how thoroughly me is through everything. It's not, I'm not going to look at you talking about my numbers as you talking about my numbers. It's going to feel like you're talking about me. That was before I'm a bit better at like separating it because I've been in enough of those conversations. I'm like, yeah, whatever, numbers and who fucking cares. But like, I think my homie Chaz was just like, oh, well, like, I can go into rooms and just be, like, a proxy for you. And I'm like, thank you. That's literally all I need at this point. And then the rest is kind of history. And shout out to him because he did a lot more than just be my fucking proxy. That's for damn sure. So.
And shout out to your journey.
Yo, for real.
I feel sometimes going through it can feel like hell, but then when you come out on the other side and you're so much more knowledgeable, you know, and you can speak to something, it's just like, oh shoot, this person's a threat. And you know, because it's like they got the looks, they're the face, and they got the wisdom, and then they got the connects, and it's just like
and I just feel like for me, a lot of it just staying true to our ethos of like, yo, we're doing this shit because like this is what we love to do. And like Chaz is my homie from like 4th grade type shit. Like life had its own journey to bring us back together from literal elementary school to full grown adulthood type shit. We weren't like thick as thieves for 14 years. We fell out. We stopped talking to each other. Both went to different schools. Both went to different colleges. He was on track to be a fucking Olympic athlete at one point and then ended up pivoting into film and being on the Hollywood blacklist like a year later. Like shit was like the journey has been fucking crazy type shit. So for me to know that and see that just with our dynamic and our friendship is like, it's giving me so much more faith in like the longevity of my own journey because, you know, again, going back to the expectations thing, it's like when stuff doesn't pan out when you think it should or how you think it should, it makes you question a lot. But looking at the grander context and the way that life moves around you can sometimes inform you about the way life is moving with you. It's like, look at all these people we had to bring back in your life for you to really actually do the thing you wanted to do. If you would have had it done with this, and this person, you wouldn't even liked it. You wouldn't have fun. You would have hated it. Because you don't know those people. You wasn't related to them. You didn't kick it with them. Like, so the work might have been cool, but it wouldn't have had any meaning behind it. It wouldn't have had any fun while you were doing it, which to me defeats the purpose.
And I feel a meaningful life and a fulfilling life should have meaning.
Yes, 100%.
I think we can end there. This was amazing.
Hey, drop the bomb on him.
Thank you so much.
Tifani, sage.
Jordan Webb.